At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Steven, it's Jared. You know me. I just did leg day, so I'm going to be heading in, and then we can do RAWtalk, because leg day is very important. I had to do it a day late because I was away, and then, we did chest yesterday, and I'll be in. But leg day, whew, leg day's hard.
Steven, were you upset that I wasn't at the Phillies game yesterday for Topanga to throw out the first pitch?
Oh, Topanga Lawrence, swoon. Ooh.
She was one of those girls that was up there when you were young. You're like, I want to touch myself, I think. I don't know what that is, but she's making me want to do it.
Yes, she was definitely my 90s crush for sure growing up. Boy Meets World was one of my favorite shows. I'm actually seeing them Saturday at the Met in Philly.
That's a waste of money, but all right.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, that's why they're here. That's why Topanga threw out a very terrible first pitch.
But they're not here until Saturday, so I guess they're here for a few days beforehand, which is kind of odd. But I follow their podcast, and they're basically breaking down every single episode from Boy Meets World, which is pretty cool. I think Mr. Turner is going to be at this live event.
Who's Mr. Turner?
One of the Lawrence brothers. You don't know Mr. Turner from Boy Meets World?
Is that the teacher?
Yeah.
He's not dead?
They never really explained it. He got in a motorcycle crash and then kind of disappeared.
Wait, who's the old man?
No. That's Feeney.
Feeney, is he alive?
Feeney's still alive.
Did you know he was the voice
in
of
real
Kit?
life? William Daniels. Yeah.
Did you know he's the voice of Kit?
Knight Rider, yeah.
In Knight Rider.
Yep. Nicole actually got me a cameo of him wishing me happy birthday a few years back.
Can you play it? Can you run it right now?
Sure.
Hello, Steve. It's Bill Daniels from Boy Meets World. I hear from your fiancée, Nicole, that you're turning 33 on July 24th. That's marvelous. Congratulations. She also tells me that the two of you are getting married in March, which is wonderful. You know, my wife Bonnie and I have been married since 1951, and I hope you enjoy as many happy years together as we have. In the meantime, I hope you, Nicole, and your dog Chip have a great celebration together. And remember the words of George Feeney: believe in yourself, dream, try, do good. Best of luck, and happy birthday.
So yeah, that was, I don't know, a few years back, and he's almost 100 years old now. I know he's up there, and he's still killing it.
Michael, we need to jump this jump thing, Michael.
Mr. Matthews.
My dad went to school with the guy who wrote Knight Rider.
Really?
Yeah. And that guy wrote a bunch of other stuff. My dad was like, I think he said he went up to him at one of the reunions and said something, and then the guy walked away. Knowing my dad, friend. I'm not sure what he had to say, but they went to the same high school.
Did you know David Hasselhoff?
Well, the Hoff of everybody did. Knight Rider Wiki. I want to see what his name was again, who wrote it. Oh, that's not the guy. That's not the guy. Who the hell is Glenn A. Larson? That's not the same guy that my
dad just made shit up.
I don't know. Maybe he did make it up. I'm looking here. I'm looking. Who wrote it? Yeah, no, I guess I don't remember who my dad went to school with. I could call him. Do you want me to you want me to call him? Get him on the line here?
Here we go.
We haven't called my dad in forever on a show.
We didn't plan on talking about any of this, by the way.
What's today? Thursday?
All day.
He might be in class right now. He's taking
with
class.
Mr. Feeney?
No.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. You're on the podcast.
I'm on the podcast.
Are you at school?
I am on my way to class.
Oh, are you walking?
I am walking.
Any have you gotten in trouble for anything yet in school?
At this stage of my life, that answer would be a negative.
All right, I have a question. You went to high school with, you said, a guy who wrote something, movie, show?
Yes, Stephen D'Souza.
Oh, you went. It was Stephen D'Souza. Okay, so he did write. He wrote Die Hard.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, I couldn't remember and what was the story? You walked up to him, you said something, and he walked away from you?
Yeah, I offered him congratulations on his success, and I guess, I don't know, I might have tweaked something that wasn't appreciated, and he turned around and basically walked away from me.
Did he say, did he take out a cigarette lighter and light it and say, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker?
No, he did not.
Because that's the famous line from the movie.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. as the plane is going down the runway.
Yes. Spoilers.
Correct.
Okay, so what do you have, Spanish today?
Spanish today, yes.
All right. Well, we're going to go back to recording.
So I'm going to be on the podcast.
Yeah, number 70.
That's cool. Very neat.
All right.
All righty. Yeah, he also did the Flintstones, by the way.
The movie?
Flintstones movie. He wrote the Flintstones movie.
Yeah, well, that ended his career.
Pretty much, yeah, because I don't think he got anything after that.
No, that was one of the worst movies in the history of movies.
Ever. But the fact of the matter is that he did Die Hard. He didn't need to do anything else after that.
All right, we're gonna go. Go enjoy Spanish. Au revoir.
Thanks. Oh, I will.
Au revoir.
Adios.
Adios.
Not au revoir. That's French.
Better. Adios.
Bye.
See ya.
Man,
at least-
you and your dad could just keep talking and talking while I'm just sitting here waiting for you to be done.
Well, I thought about having him on when you were on paternity leave again.
It's been a minute since he's been on, right? Was it just that one episode years back?
Father's Day episode years and years ago. I was going to have him interview me instead of me interviewing him.
That'd be cool.
I would have him write the questions and then him talk to me, and then I'll try to answer
somehow,
them.
like, the tables would turn and you would take over the interview. I guarantee it.
Well, that's like Howard Stern. He takes over all the interviews.
Yep, there you go.
So I don't know how we got on this subject. Topanga Lawrence, that's right. Topanga's here. And
Topanga.
Hey, how's it going? You enjoying the show, Topanga? Oh, my dad's calling back. You know, this is trouble. If my dad's... Yeah, Dad.
What I also remembered is that he did that car thing where the car spoke to people.
You mean Knight Rider? I can't find his name on Knight Rider. He didn't write it.
Well, he had something to do with Knight Rider. Why has Steven D'Souza come to the fore?
We were talking about Topanga from Boy Meets World, and somehow it came up to because the teacher, Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World, was the voice of Kit in Knight Rider.
Oh, okay, right, and that's what he wrote. He wrote Knight Rider. He had something to do with.
It says he produced the first season of Knight Rider.
He produced the first season of Knight Rider.
Oh, did he really?
That's what Steven says.
Okay, that's interesting.
All right.
Cool. Glad I brought it up.
Adios, amigos.
See ya.
Bye.
It says other notable work: Commando, Die Hard, Street Fighter, Judge Dredd.
He was the 80s, quintessential 80s writer.
Huh. I feel like I've heard that name before. Steven D'Souza?
Yeah. I thought it was somebody else. I think he went to school with Matt Barr also, who was a field goal kicker. That's why I didn't remember it. Let me see. Matt Barr. We're just going off the cuff here.
Best podcast ever.
Best podcast ever. Yeah. No, this Matt Barr was born in 1978, so he did not go to school with my dad. Oh, well.
So he wrote Die Hard 2 as well, it says.
So he made some money is basically hopefully what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because that movie was Die Hard, which one was Yippee-Ki-Yay Motherfucker?
I think, if it's the airplane one, isn't that 2?
Yeah, I don't remember 3 or A Vengeance.
3 was the New York City one with Samuel L. Jackson, right?
That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it back around to Topanga, and you're going to go see her. Are you holding a sign?
No, I will not be holding a sign.
Will your wife be going with you?
She is.
Wow, who's watching the baby?
It's actually our first night out.
I'm babysitting. Did you know that?
Jared's babysitting.
All right, Hannah.
And we have Nicole's mom. Thankfully, grandmom's babysitting.
All right, well, that's good.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. It's the whole cast. They're going to do the podcast live, and then, like I said, they're going to have a couple special guests. The big point is, Philly is where Boy Meets World was supposed to be taking place. He was a Phillies fan growing up, and everything was based out of Philadelphia. So that was the cool part about watching the show and being close to Philadelphia. Was I felt like I grew up with him, and he did all the same things I did.
But he's not
going to
be there.
No, because he's actually running for Congress or something in California somewhere. I don't know the exact story, but he's pretty much out of the limelight when it comes to the podcast and all of that. Anything Boy Meets World. It's weird.
Well, anyway, getting back onto the topic, Stephen, this is episode number 70, where you can text us. I still forget the text line number, which is, I'm going to pull it up right meow because I have it on my computer. It's 313-710-9729. I haven't looked at messages in a minute since I've been away because it's been a minute. I still send out birthday greetings every day, but I sometimes don't get to read the messages.
It's tough because some of those messages, man, they're writing a novel, and we just don't have time to really respond to every single one. they're great questions. It's just they're very specific questions.
I always tell people if you write 5 paragraphs, I'm not reading it, make it 2 sentences. You can get your question out in 2 sentences. And if you can't, don't ask it, because I don't like all the superfluous stuff. I don't care. I mean, I care that you were like inspired and all this bullshit. That's great. But if you want me to answer your question, you got to make it quick. We'll talk about my Tampa trip, talk about the Phillies guy shooting the Phillies game who was lucky his camera protected his face from a foul ball. We'll talk about the new Plena lens. We'll talk about the Venus optic microscopic lenses, which are actually pretty interesting. And then I'm not going to talk about getting canceled in my dream. Okay. Should I talk about getting canceled in my dream, Steven, real fast?
If you want. You told me about it yesterday, and I'm like, this was a dream, right?
This was a dream. I didn't get canceled. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you guys what happened real quick. I was dreaming, and it's super vivid. And it was kind of like a school situation. And there was this box, and it had clothes in it. And I take out this dress, and it's for a little kid. And it's like a pink, super hot pink dress. And I say I think it might have been Dan or some other guy, I'm like, Dan, now your little girl can wear this dress. Or a little boy. And I corrected myself because I didn't want to be like, well, boys can wear dresses too. And then this girl comes from the other side of the room and she's like, I've been waiting all year for something like this. So she was like planning this. And she's
I'm part of the cancel committee.
You miss blah, 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 you something. And I'm like, but I corrected myself. I'm like, started off and said for a little girl. And then I was like, or a little boy. So I was correcting myself, and she's like, no, you are blah blah blah, and then she went on about it, and now Dan's calling, so I'm not going to answer that. Dan's calling. We're not answering Dan because he does not get a microphone. He's probably got questions about photo news or something. But yeah, so that was basically the dream, and then the teacher came in acting all disappointed at me, and I'm like, but I didn't do anything wrong. I corrected myself and made it appropriate for multiple genders.
In reality, I mean, sometimes, it does take a minute to correct yourself naturally, just because we're so hardwired to think like, boys don't wear dresses and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's like, who cares?
And it's not a big deal.
You're a child.
It's not a big deal.
It's like Big Daddy, where he's like, what do you want to be named? Frankenstein. Cool. Sounds good.
Just relax. It's okay. It happens at bowling. There's this one girl that we bowl with, not gendering or anything. But if you so there's been a time where it's her turn to bowl. And then I stand up because I'm going to go as soon as she's done, because you have lane courtesy. And she looks over and I'm like, just go ahead. And she gets offended when a man tells her to go ahead. It happened last night. When
you're just being nice.
No, it
Whether
happened
it was a guy
last
or a girl, you're just being nice, yeah.
It wasn't me who got the look yesterday. It was this other guy. He was standing there. She was first. He's like, you go if she's first. And he points to her. He's like, you go. And she looks at him and she starts shaking her head.
It'd be different if he was like, ladies first,
Well, it doesn't matter. So just go ahead because she was there first. And she did it. She looked at him and she scowled at him and she shook her head at him. And I was like, yep, that's about right.
Such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, this person does this stuff. She tries to play mind games all the time by like having conversations the whole time at bowling and not realizing, it's my turn, or looking up, seeing it's her turn and still sitting there.
But it's just like, how do you live your life waiting to just jump on the next person that does something wrong?
Exactly. None of it's a big deal. Just relax. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to die tomorrow because of it. Just fucking relax. So, Speaking of relaxing, yeah, that was my dream. I went to Florida. I went for 2 days. I flew out Friday and I was supposed to come home Sunday. I was flying there to have dinner at Burns Steakhouse. What an incredible place Burns Steakhouse is, Steven. We should do that. We should take a trip to Burns.
We've talked about all this last week.
Yeah, but I had the steak this time. I got a 14-ounce Chanchermau steak or something.
Did you dress up?
Cook it on the side or some 14-ounce steak.
Oh.
So I got it,
That's
medium rare plus. So it's not medium rare, but it's not medium.
I'm like a medium. Yeah, right in between. That's like perfect. Medium rare, medium.
Dude, this was the greatest steak that I've ever had.
How much was it?
Finally. No, it was like $76, but
it's not terrible for a solid steakhouse like that.
Yeah, but at Burns, guess what you get with that $76 with your steak?
A big giant baked potato.
No, you get a French onion soup.
Oh.
You get a salad. You get a baked potato. You get vegetables. You
It's
get
not
these
all a la
onion
carte.
ring things.
Nice.
And that's all that comes with all of that when
That's
you
great.
get that $76 steak. Unlike all these other bullshit places that charge you for, $20 for a goddamn baked potato.
I remember Nicole and I went to AC to celebrate our anniversary, and we went to one of the steakhouses there, and everything is a la carte. And I'm pretty sure the bill was like over $300 because I would order like a side of Brussels sprouts, a side of like a baked potato, and also it was like family size too. So when it came out, there were these huge servings, and yeah, it came out to be like over $300 for this bill, which is just insane for two people.
You mean like when we go to a saloon for dinner?
Yeah, but that's usually like 6 or 8 of us.
Well, I usually spend, it's usually like $800 for the 6-7 people that we bring out to that thing.
And they're also a la carte, right? Everything's pretty much...
Yeah, they are. That's the steak I'm showing Steven right now.
Oh,
it was
for once they didn't mess it up for you.
Oh, they did not mess up my steak. And here's everything you got on your plate.
Oh,
and that's after a salad and after the French onion soup.
I haven't had a good steak in a while.
Yo, dude, this was it. Like, I don't think I want to go anywhere else anymore because it's just such a great experience. It is. It's such
on
a
your
great
private jet.
I will. It's just such a great experience to eat there because you get a tour of their wine cellar. They got 1 million bottles of wine. 1 million.
Did you drink wine?
No, I don't like wine.
Why?
I don't like wine.
So good.
So I was staying with my brother's friends from college, and my brother was with me, and he was there. He was down there to go to the Eagles game, and I tried to get a PhotoPass credential for the game, and I was unable to get a credential, but I decided to stay, and I bought a ticket to the game, and I saw there was not a lot of photographers. I think the NFL has really locked down on how many people are shooting, and I know Junior.
Have you ever shot an NFL game?
Never shot an NFL game, just college stuff.
Okay.
Which reminds me, I need to see what's happening this weekend because I got a bunch of lenses to test out.
Oh, yeah.
Sports
Speaking of
weekend.
lenses.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, Junior, Ken Griffey, who we talk to quite often, was out in Phoenix shooting a game, and I saw that Petapixel put up an article about Junior being a photographer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, but it's all right. Who critiques his work, Steven? Who critiques his work? Who are you looking at?
Are we allowed to say this?
Oh yeah, I mean it's fine. We talk all the time about photography, and we talked about it before. But yeah, no, I asked Junior if he could help me get a pass.
Expensive dinners, by the way.
What? Oh, the
When
time we went to dinner
him.
with Junior. Yeah. That was very lovely. That was very enjoyable. But I would take
His
Burns
family
over
was
that
great too.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody was awesome. That was a fun night with Manny and the Griffeys.
Yeah, Manny was there. Yeah. The Griffies.
The Griffeys.
Oh, so weird to say out loud.
Dinner with the Griffeys.
Just a casual dinner with Ken Griffey Jr.
It was casual. It was casual. So yeah, that's anyway, he shoots. I couldn't get a pass for the game, so I just watched the game. I took some photos with the iPhone. And anybody that thinks that 5X is actually a good lens is mistaken. It brings you in 5 times closer, but it's not like you're going to get great results because I on Sunday there was a baseball game, right? So I went to Tropicana Field to photograph the Rays, and the places you get to shoot there are insane. They're like wide open to getting banged by a ball if you get in the way. Like, it's a really cool sight line, but the problem is it's a dome, so the light is always going to be the same for 81 freaking games. It's a shitty ballpark. That's why they're replacing it. They just announced plans for a $1.3 billion ballpark. And what everybody tells me about there is the reason they don't draw anybody to the games is that people from Tampa don't go to St. Pete because it takes them forever to get there because of traffic. And so that's why they were hoping that they would build it in Tampa, but they're still leaving it in St. Pete. And that's why they don't draw, is because the traffic is horrible. It took me 2 hours and 45 minutes to go from Tampa to Orlando to get my flight home in an Uber. And normally that's an hour and 30 with no traffic.
That's like me getting to the Mann Center to see the Postal Service and Death Cab for Cutie last weekend. It was brutal.
Was
90
it any
minutes.
good?
It was very good. I took a nice little nap while they were playing.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
No, the only thing that's weird, man, is Ben Gibbard is just like an awkward white old man dancing when he performs. It just doesn't match. Like, the way he looks doesn't match the music.
Yeah.
The way he's dancing. He's dancing with like a fast rhythm, and it's just like you're singing a slow song. It doesn't make sense at all. So minus that criticism, I think the music's great live, all that's great, but he's just an awkward performer live.
So, you know what's insane? I was sent by Rolling Stone on assignment to Trocadero in Philly back in the film days. So this would have been like 99 or 2000. It's probably 2000 or 2001 when I was shooting, and it was a co-headlining tour between Ben Queller, which most people would never have heard of Ben Queller, and Death Cab for Cutie, playing 800 to 800 people, right? Small venue. And so
that's an odd lineup.
But they were co-headlining. It was Ben Queller and Death Cab for Cutie, and it was before Death Cab blew up. My
that
photos
had
are
to
not very
be,
good.
98, 2000, around then. I mean, their first album was 1998, but they didn't really start blowing up until like 2003 is really when they hit the mainstream with Transatlanticism.
Wow. Death Cab for Cutie set list. Well, it says April 13th of 2004. I don't know if this is the same, but
that would have been a pretty big tour coming out of that album.
Yeah, it wasn't. That definitely wasn't it. Yeah, Death Cab tour with Ben Queller. Wow, this stuff is old.
I don't think I've ever seen those photos. The Trocadero too. That was always a rough venue to shoot.
Well, the stage was
red lighting, orange lighting, shit lighting.
The stage was super high.
Yeah, super high.
Yeah, the stage was super high. That was a very difficult place to shoot. I don't have my stuff open, so I can't say. Maybe it was 2000. If it was 2004, I would have been shooting the D2H at
Digital.
the time.
Right? Yeah.
I don't recall. I mean, I could open up while we're going over it. I just didn't want to tax my computer, but while bringing this up. But yeah, so that's my trip was good. I was hoping that I did get to shoot some photos of the game, but I only took my iPhone from the stands, and that ended up being it.
So did you actually compare the iPhone with like a true 70 to 200 or anything? Or how does it look side by side?
Technically, I didn't shoot the same thing yet. I'm going to go to the Phillies today and maybe do it. It's just the problem with the iPhone is when you are sitting there, or when Apple is showing you the keynote and they're showing you the best of the best, they're showing you set up portraits that are lit.
Perfectly lit studio shots. Yeah.
Everything's a portrait, or it's out in a field, which they're using reflectors, and they're manicuring the entire shot. So it's not a picture.
There's 10 people on set, with an iPhone photographer.
It's not the picture that that I'm going to get when I just go take a picture. Like when I'm taking a selfie with me and all the guys at the football game that I posted, that's just me. I did post one of the flyover pictures. That was done with the wide angle lens. But it's just like, they're not even close to replacing us.
And again, you can still use portrait mode in the 120 millimeter mode, right? The 5X mode? As
long as the flower thing or the F shows up in the image, you can shoot all the photos you want and then do portrait mode. Do you know what I couldn't figure out?
Even in the 120 millimeter mode?
I think so.
Okay,
I think
because without that, you're at like F64 equivalent.
Well, do you know what's crazy? I forgot that the iPhone can take rapid shots like motor drive.
The burst. I never used that mode.
But it used to be where you would hold the button in. Now if you hold the button in, it takes a video. So I had to, I Googled it. I'm like, how the hell do I do this? You press and swipe to the left and it starts going and taking a shit ton of pictures. And then you can select the one. But I don't know if it's still RAW.
I think I used that mode one time by accident when I first got the iPhone when that came out. Yeah. And I took like 70 pictures in a row by accident.
Yeah, so I took a picture. I posted the picture of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Swinging, and it's like his arms are a blur and the ball is a blur. And then, people be like, but the lighting wasn't good enough. I'm like, you told me I could use it for sports.
Does something like Lightroom Mobile support that lens yet? Like,
I never shoot in Lightroom Mobile.
Well, just because you can go full manual at that point too.
I never shoot in Lightroom Mobile.
If you wanted a higher shutter speed, to really freeze that bat motion, whatever.
Guess what, Steven? The show was in 2004.
Really?
So I was shooting with the D2H.
Okay, digital.
Yeah, so it was D2H from upstairs. I've got Ben Queller here. That ended up getting posted in, how do I only have 51 pictures? Maybe, did I shoot him twice? Because I don't see Death Cab. Oh, there it is, Death Cab. 184 pictures. These are JPEGs. Oh, okay. So that's because I put RAW and JPEG at the time. So I have the RAW files. I was shooting with a 35 to 72.8. Man, that lens sucked.
What ISO were you at? Super high, shooting at the Troc?
Steven, 400.
That's
what
it,
the
really?
hell am I doing? 1/60th of a second at 5.6 at 400. Who the fuck are you?
Wow.
What are you doing with your shitty settings?
The Jared Polin of today critiqued your old Jared Polin. Whew, that'd be a fun critique.
I might have been using a flash.
How?
I was using a flash. That's why.
Yeah, but they let you do that in the pit?
It was 2004. I used a flash.
Yeah, but even then, you still couldn't use a flash.
Steven, I was using a flash. I can tell you that right now for a fact.
Wow.
And do you know how? Because it
That's
was
also
so
probably
dark.
why you only have 56 pictures.
Well, I have 92 pictures of Death Cab. And dude, these are terrible. These are terrible.
I've never shot flash at a concert setting.
Well, so I've done it in the past where you set up a light on the side and it really looks awesome. Wow, you know how young these guys look, Steven?
I used to set up strobes and flashes in the iHeart radio studio when I worked with iHeart back in the day. Like this is 2009, maybe. I would set up like 3-point lighting and everything. Mumford & Sons were, I think, the first band I did when they first came out. And I will say those pictures look awesome because I got the light perfect and I was shooting at like base ISO, but it really pissed off the artists and I don't blame them.
Yeah. No,
Because
that's
I'd
why
be rapid firing bursts of flash while they're live on the radio, you know?
It was like the time Modest Yahoo kicked the flash off of a photographer's camera in the pit.
It's got to be super annoying and messing up their flow. Wow,
Look how bad
Ben
this is.
Gabbard looks so different. Look at those mutton chops, too.
I know, and look, he's wearing weird earplugs at the time, but
They look so young.
Look how young they are.
He's not even in the band anymore.
Well, this guy, the bass player.
No, bass player is.
Oh no, I thought the bass player left.
No, he's still there. It's the other guy.
Yeah, so these are how bad the photos are. Like, look how bad these. I know you guys can't see them right now, but this is just garbage. I'm surprised.
Wait, so are you shooting flash all the way up here?
No,
not this photo.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. That looks like
look,
flash. It's lighting up the fans in front.
Wow.
I was going with slow shutters, but dude, that's terrible. I suck. You're a terrible photographer, dude.
Look, he's sweating like me.
Yeah, 2004. Oh God, these are horrible. Oh my God, are these terrible, Steven? Absolutely atrocious photos. See, this is the stuff I want to critique in the next video guide, is to show people it's not just you. Like, I got terrible photos. Nowadays, it's different.
You really should go through your catalog and just pick out like your absolute worst photos and critique them and call it something like my worst photos ever or something like that. I don't know. I think that's super interesting.
I've critiqued some of my old stuff before.
But I've never seen like stuff like that. You've never showed me those photos.
Well,
There's
you've
plenty
seen
of photos that I've never seen because you don't want me to see them.
No, I just shared them. I had no problem showing. You didn't even have to.
No,
like,
I just mean,
can I see them?
I just mean like, what's the point of bringing them up if you don't really care to show them? You know what I mean? It's not that like you're trying to hide them from me.
Yeah, don't try to tell me I'm trying to hide them because I share
I don't mean
everything.
Like that. Yeah.
I do.
But I do think that would be an interesting video.
It could be. I would rather put it in the video guide that we sell because those people are actually going to enjoy it. You know? Well, it's the problem is, like, we just posted the vlog that I didn't call a vlog, where I used a 600 millimeter and I challenged myself to get a different photo of Bryce Harper hitting a 300th home run. If you haven't seen it, which a lot of people haven't, it has about 28 or 30,000 views. I do highly recommend that you watch it because the people that did watch it stayed and watched the whole thing because it's enjoyable. It's a fun video.
That was a tough one to title too. We tried going kind of the clicky route. What did we call it initially? Trying something different. ...
I'm tired of doing that. The problem, the fucking problem is...
But you literally tried something different in the video, and you start out the opening line talking about trying something different.
I know,
in this video.
It's so fucking mentally challenging and draining to do what we do day in and day out. Because, just last week we're talking about clickbait, where people are like, you shouldn't have called it this. And then you call another video something and it doesn't do very well. But all I'm saying is I would like you guys, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I don't know what the title is now because I changed it. It was Taking a Risk.
Huge risk with a $12,000 600 millimeter lens! !
Yeah, so that's just what I changed it to. But once the video is done after a day and two, it's like probably not going to grow.
It's impossible to get back.
Let's talk about the Polin lens. Speaking of views, because we got no views off of that because
you were in Florida.
I was in Florida. By the time Nikon decided to send it to us, I was already away. And that was only 2 days. No, that was, 2 business days before. What'd you get it, Friday?
They sent it Friday morning, and it was due, Tuesday night?
Well,
was the embargo lifting?
Yeah, Tuesday night. So at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, the video was to go live. And I don't think Nikon had very many of these to go around. And
they
this
usually
time,
don't.
Unfortunately,
they typically have 1 or 2 in the U.S., and it's very hard for them to kind of give it to us, and then someone like Chris and Jordan and DP Review and whoever's left at DP Review at this point.
It's frustrating sometimes. We've talked about this, the way that Nikon does some of their reviewing of new product. We've talked about where they have to send a chaperone down to watch us. In this case,
they didn't this time.
Well, they didn't, and they didn't with the 180 to 600.
Yep.
We
had like a month heads up for that one.
Yeah, it just all we ever asked for. If I had more time, and by more time, we know that that Petapixel had it for like 3 weeks prior to us. It makes it difficult to, if you get it last minute, to do a good job. I want to do a good job. I want to go shoot multiple things.
And speaking of that too, them getting it earlier than us, there's been plenty of times where we've gotten it before them and vice versa. So it all depends when Nikon can get to us.
So I'm holding the lens now, and my plan is today to go to the Phillies game, the last home game of the season, of the regular season. They do have playoffs coming up, and I do have my pass to go do that. But I'm going to take this. I've got the Tamron 70-180 version 2, the G2, to go try out. I still have the iPhone, and it's just, I'm so disheartened to want to even go try to shoot sports with the iPhone because they say you can do it. You can't fucking do it. You just can't do it with that 5X lens.
Yeah, it's tough.
When's your phone come in?
October 9th to the 16th, it says. I waited, I think 8 a.m. is when the pre-order started. But I think the website was down for like 20 minutes, so 8:20 was like roughly when it really started. I think I ordered mine at 9 a.m., and at that point it already shifted like 3 weeks until I get the phone. So it started at September 20th, give or take, and now it's all the way up to October 9th to the 16th. That's my window where hopefully I'll be getting the phone. Yeah,
so I'm going to take the Plena out. I'm going to try and get a kid to photograph a kid too, for some portraits.
So are you going to compare it to like a 135 or something like that?
What? To compare it to a Canon and a Sony?
Just focal length wise, yeah, to see what you can get on an iPhone versus a $2,000 lens.
No, if I do, that's different. I'm not going to use a Plena for that. I could take the 70-180 and put it at 120 millimeters. In that case, I can put them both at 120. I should probably, I don't recall if the Sony allows us to see what 120 millimeters looks like in the viewfinder. I could just take the Z9. The Z9 does.
And the Canon does as well, where it'll tell you the actual millimeter focal length that you're shooting at.
I should probably take the Nikon, because then you could see the electronic viewfinder and record that.
Does the Nikon do that too? It'll tell you.
I think the Nikon does. I just know for a fact that the Canon one does, because I always look inside. I'm like, oh, it's at 35 millimeters. That's what I want.
It's only the R3 and the R6 Mark II and the R8. It's all those cameras that were basically released after the R3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the R5 still doesn't do that. All the older cameras don't do that. But everything moving forward looks like they're putting that in the camera.
Yeah, so the thing that I want to do is I want to use the iPhone from the same spot inside third base. That's the one at home plate, basically. And I want to take pictures of the pitcher at 120 millimeters and take pictures of the pitcher with a real phone at 120 millimeters and say, here you go, guys. I don't think Apple's going to be very happy with my results. But what are you going to do? This is it. Do I think that the camera in general, the regular cameras, do a fantastic job for what people are going to use it for? Absolutely. The photos are great. They're clean. The raw files, they're nice and sharp, and everything looks nice. But again, you don't have the bokeh until you put in the fake bokeh.
The Foca. Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I don't care. That's the thing. But
there's times where I just want to have the phone in my pocket, and that is the only camera that I have on me. So why not just take a photo? And in the end, it still looks pretty good just to post on social media or whatever it may be.
It's good enough.
I wouldn't be happy if I had it in a concert situation and was shooting for Rolling Stone or something,
Even though that one time I did that. When that other iPhone came out and I shot that band of skulls.
I don't remember that at all. What iPhone?
iPhone 13 maybe, or 12. You don't remember that? My buddy Shannon was in town, and he was with a band. It wasn't a band of horses. It was a band of skulls, a different band, and they let me in.
I'm always on vacation right around the time that the iPhone comes out, like that second week of September. So it's usually you and Dan figuring out like the iPhone video, and there's been plenty that I've missed the past few years.
Yeah.
So I bet this is a video you probably did with Dan, and I don't recall it at all.
I'm gonna go back and try and find it real fast for you, so I can.
While you're finding that, let's talk about the Plena for a minute.
Go ahead.
How does that lens feel for you?
It feels heavy. I mean, it feels built really well.
But roughly, compared to the Canon and Sony version, the same weight, give or take.
Yeah, they basically
like
feel the same.
A tenth of a pound.
Yeah, they basically feel the same.
Yeah, it looks like the back element, the diameter right there, was a lot bigger than the other two lenses, which I think Nikon is claiming, you'll get better, less vignetting, less fringing, all of that kind of stuff, because more light is hitting the sensor and coming through.
That's the thing that they tried to push to me was edge-to-edge brightness. And my take on edge-to-edge brightness is I like the vignette.
I prefer the natural vignette unless it's a super hard vignette like the Canon 14-35 when you're at 14 millimeters. It's a real heavy, dark vignette. That's a little too much. But like those 1.8, 135 lenses, I think that natural vignette is like perfect. Really lets you zone in on just your subject that you're shooting.
iPhone 11 Pro camera real world review. 600,000 views 4 years ago.
Huh. Wow.
There's a lot of concert stuff here. Yeah. God, it just... Oh God, the video looks terrible. It looks like we were shooting it with a Canon, a Nikon at the time. It doesn't look as good as it does today. That's crazy how much that's changed. But yeah, it was an iPhone 11 is what I was using, and I shot
also
it.
think something with YouTube, I think they've changed things over the years, because back then I would have noticed if it looked that bad. And I feel like now you look back at those older videos and they look much worse, but I think there's something with YouTube's processing that those videos looked good at the time and now they look worse because they must have switched things up, is my guess.
Probably.
So back to the 135 from Nikon, I feel like they finally really have a well-rounded lens lineup. I mean, the only thing they're missing, which is rumored, is the 35-1.2. They're at the point where they're pretty much caught up to Canon and Sony, if not even more, with the extra long lenses. You know,
I think that Nikon has one of the better lineups of lenses, even better than Sony.
And they've really refined it too, taking out the stupid little OLED display that probably throws an extra $200 onto a lens.
Who said that? Who said that OLED display was stupid?
Only thing I still think they should be doing is bringing back that gold ring. I really think that's how they should separate their S lineup, because the S lineup goes all the way to these cheaper $500 lenses to something like the 135 Polin that just came out. That's considered an S lineup.
Well,
but
that's
what's
their
the
thing.
Differentiator there?
It gets a name.
No, I know, but that's where I think the G, the whole gold ring, that's what it symbolizes. You know?
I agree with you, but I really do think that Nikon has an extremely well-rounded lineup. You've got your 14 to 24 2.8, you have your 24 to 70 2.8, 70 to 200, 105 macro, you have an 85 1.2, a 50 1.2, a 135 1.8, you have a 400 TC, you have a 600 TC, you have a 180 to 600. 180, is that what it is?
180 to 600, yep.
180 so there's so many, and you have, say, a 35 1.8, a 28 1.8, a 50 1.8, the 85 1.8. You have those that are super light, and they're good.
And you have something like the Nikon 400 4.5 and the 800 6.3, like those more inexpensive, super long lenses that I think are great. And that's something that, like, the Canon has the 800 and 600, but they're the F11. They're a little too, I think they're a little too cheap, you know? I think they need something on the more enthusiast end, not quote unquote professional, high end $10,000 lens, but that $2,000-$3,000 sweet spot where you're getting a much better element.
So I think Nikon has done. I think they might have the most well-rounded lineup right now. It's not the, let's say they don't have a 28 to 70 f2, and I'm not talking about. And they have the third-party Tamron options now. Yeah,
I still think Sony has the overall best lineup just because of how many third-party options there are.
That. Fuck the third party. They're fine, but they're not great. Now, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah, but the DGD and Sigmas, they're pretty solid.
No, those are very good. Yes, I'm talking about that lineup. But when you come to a native, well-rounded lineup, I think Sony is actually lacking for the most part at this point. Their 85 1.4 is a piece of shit. They haven't replaced it with an 85 1.2. Right? They haven't done that. And they have the 12 to 24 2.8, 24 to 70 version 2, 70 to 200 version 2, 16 to 35.
I still think their lenses though are the quietest, the fastest focusing, smallest, lightest lenses. Like, they really do a good job with that.
They do.
Overall
their
feel and craft of their G Master lenses are solid.
They are solid. I just feel like they're lacking on the long range for people.
Sure.
They have a 400 to it, they have a 600, but they don't have like interesting stuff like where Canon has a 28 to 70 f2. I find that to be obviously the reason that I use the Canon is for that lens in particular. The 85, the 135, the 50 1.2, the 70 to 200, which for some reason Canon rumors is rumoring a version 2 of that coming without external focus. It would have internal zooming. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that makes any sense.
Well, I think it's still better for in terms of like weather sealing and stuff like that. In terms of that professional build quality, you're probably getting a better lens overall with the internal zoom. But the push-pull is just so convenient, to have it so small and compact.
It's not push-pull. It's still a twist-turn. But
well, you know what I mean.
It's more compact. It does. Yeah. It's much easier to travel with.
Yeah.
And I haven't had issues. I used it in the rain at the Phillies last year when Harper hit the home run. That's the lens I used when Harper hit the home run.
I mean, as long as optically it's the same, whether it's internal or the twist turn, I'm fine with the twist turn option, but if they can get a better, lens overall when it comes to the optics, and if it's internal zoom, I'd prefer that. Whatever's sharper, whatever's better, whatever's cleaner overall.
It did take a minute to get used to the zooming. It did feel like it was harder to zoom, not like the version 3.
I feel like it's a longer throw too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to the Plana, I'm looking forward to using it. I think that I know how it's going to be. I think it's going to be a beautiful lens. The 135 Canon and Sony are beautiful lenses. But I do think, and I'm just going to say, without even using it yet, that the autofocus is going to be very similar to every other Nikon lens. You're not going to get anything more extreme. It's using STM motors. It's not using linear actuator type motors, which are generally faster, or the voice coil, smooth voice coil,
Swifty, smooth, whatever they call it.
Swift, smooth voice coil that Nikon has only used in like the 400.
Yeah, the bigger lenses.
So there's that, but it's a well-rounded lineup that Nikon has, and I'm looking forward to using it.
Do you think the 135, they're calling it the Plana, however you pronounce it, Plana, do you think that'll be its own separate line, or that's a one-off version like they called the Noct?
I don't know. What
do you think there's going to be a 51.2 Plana version?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why they wouldn't have named. See, that's like your gold ring. If you're going to name your best of the best, it's marketing, which I always talk about. I wish Nikon would call their Speed 7 processor something else, right? And I said that all along.
But the maybe Noct 2X processor.
Maybe a 35.1.2 will come.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm kind of tired of gear. It's what we focus on.
Unfortunately, that's what pushes views. Yeah,
it does.
But I'm with you.
I'm tired of it because I saw someone the other day. They're like, "Oh, great! You went into a baseball game and you used an expensive stuff that no one can own." And I just reply back, and I'm like, "Yeah. What about the time I took the R100 Canon to the game with a 100 to 400 and shot, and actually got some really nice photos."
Yeah,
it's just showing you that if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get shit results no matter what you use. And give me a basic camera, and I'm gonna still get great results. I love the challenge of going out and using something different. We do get spoiled with what we have. We have the ability to shoot 30 frames a second. We have the best focusing lenses and the best glass. But I love the challenge of taking something different out into the world and getting great results.
Trying something different. Great title.
It's just very hard. Yeah, no one's going to click on it, and it's and it's hard to get the people. I did the Super Secret Project back in the day. Different world 13 years ago on YouTube than today on YouTube.
Yeah. So I wonder how that would do if you called something the Super Secret Project.
I don't know. I think if you brand and market anything and get people to watch it, it works. But the only thing YouTube,
is you tried that with 5-minute portraits, and it got to the point where people weren't watching anymore.
I think the thing with YouTube is the majority of our views come from recommendations. I think that is the TikTokification of it.
For sure.
Because you were talking about your wife sitting there. She doesn't follow people. They just did stuff just gets
the algorithm is that damn good. She just will scroll, and the next video is like, oh, that's something I want to watch.
And which is kind of insane. So
it is.
I think obviously YouTube is trying to do something similar where they recommend it. And if the video isn't getting clicked at a high enough rate, they don't recommend it outside of your own people. And the fact that we have 1.44 million subscribers and you get 30,000 views on a video is like a fucking punch in the nuts or a kick in the nuts sometimes.
I feel like if it doesn't hit that algorithm, that recommended feed in the first 30 minutes, if it doesn't really shoot up, take off, then YouTube just pretty much kills it at that point.
The End did really well.
It did, but that's because it also spiked up that first 30 seconds, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it did really well, and it should be at 160,000 views right now?
And I've always said it, it's a clicky thumbnail, it's a clicky title, it's also only 4 minutes long. Like, people can just sit there, and if they see it real quick, they can click it. You don't even have to think about it if you see it in your recommended homepage feed.
Yeah, 167 views, and it still has a impression click-through rate of 9.5%. Which is high. When it started, it was at 18%, 18.5%. Quick explanation. Every 100, so basically YouTube shows it to 100 people, 18 people were clicking it. So that is a very high click-through rate versus the video that I put out the other day that only has 28,000 views and is basically dead at 29,000 views, has a 6.8% click-through rate. So much further down, and that video is basically dead, unfortunately, which sucks. But the watch through rate, it says 74% of the viewers are still watching at around the 30-second mark. But the average view duration is 48.8%, 5 minutes and 8 seconds. That's a really good percentage.
And the other thing too with that baseball vlog that might be throwing people off. Anytime we really do any baseball themed videos, I feel like people just tune out, especially if it's Phillies and it's not your team. I get it. But that first 2 seconds, you're seeing a POV baseball game shooting, like, do people tune out right away when they're like, oh, I don't want to watch this, it's about baseball again? That doesn't count as a view when you're watching that and you tune out after the first few seconds. So I question, if we didn't have that, would people have stayed? I have no idea.
I don't know anymore.
Like this new Jurassic Park video that we're putting out soon, we've got a totally different intro, and it's like, will it work or will it not? Because it's way different than what we normally do, and it hopefully will keep the viewer around, because it's kind of like, what's going on here? Like, this isn't what you usually do.
We don't worry about keeping people around. We know that people watch our videos once they get there. It's just a matter of getting people to click on the video in the first place.
That's the hardest part. Yep.
So
exactly.
And it branches out. I mean, it's we try not to compare ourselves to other people, but I tend to do that quite often with other channels in the industry. But just have to remember, I have to remind myself that I've been around since 2010, and a lot of the followers that have subscribed for 13 years or in the past 13 years no longer are into photography or no longer choose to watch the videos. So when that Jurassic Park video comes out, please try and give it a watch. I don't know what we're even titling it yet.
Well, that's the question. I have no idea what we should title that.
Well, and the fact that it's a sponsored video is also another thing that people are going to see. And, But forget about forget about the fact that it's a sponsored video. I watched the first 2 minutes of it. Steven just sent it to me before the show, and it's like, okay, we're showing something working. We did something cool, and I don't care if it's sponsored or not. And if people don't care, if they fuck it, if they don't like it because it's sponsored, then don't watch your TV. Don't pay for Hulu. Don't pay for Netflix. Don't pay for fucking anything, because you don't pay for our videos.
I just think in the end, it's super interesting, just the theme of the whole video, the challenge of trying to take a realistic photo of this Jurassic Park Jeep set and make it look like it's from the movie, light it up when it's a completely dark shed, or a detached garage. I think it came out great. The video in the end, it does definitely come across as, a sponsored video, obviously. But we talk about what's the challenge. Here's what we're shooting with. Let's take some photos. And it's brought to you by Zhiyun and their brand new lights. And this is how we made them work.
Yeah. I mean, we're showing you how a product works and showing you what we did. That's it. That's what we can do. So speaking of products, Venus Optics, the people that sent us the telescoping one, the what do they call that one? The one we're going to use at your dad's house when he's building his Legos. We still have that upstairs. That's a periscope, right?
Probe. It's a probe lens. That's what they call it.
Yeah, for when you're getting a rectal exam.
Exactly.
I wonder if we could try that.
But these things are super cool because their magnification ratio is insane. It's like 2-to-1. So if you're taking video of a Lego city, it looks like you're actually a Lego figurine in that city walking around.
We should definitely be doing that. The B&H.
That's what we're going to try and do.
And then we can do voiceovers.
It'll come out really cool.
We could do voiceovers. Hello, welcome to B&H. Hello.
We do have the B&H Lego set.
We do, and I hope your dad builds it and puts it on his Lego universe. I don't know,
it's got to match his whole cityscape though. It's got to be right.
I've never seen it. How big is it?
It's getting bigger and bigger every day. It's insane. He's right now is building a 9-foot by 4-foot stadium that he's making from scratch.
Oh, that's awesome.
My dad's entire dining room table is this new piece that he's building right now.
Did he schematic
My mom's not happy
out?
about it. He's got it to scale and everything. It's crazy. Yeah, he's got a whole blueprint that he made himself. He's super into it.
That's cool.
And back then, growing up, it was always about model trains and cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now it's all about Lego. I mean, he's retired now, so he has all the time in the world, and he is just he's like me. He gets absolutely obsessed with something and goes all in. And wants to learn every little thing about it.
So that's the probe lens, but now they just came out with the a microscopic lens kit that goes from 10x to 50x that allows you to shoot. They showed a picture of butterfly wings. Well, Steven, don't give away my photo news fix. You didn't see my photo news
is that
fix.
what you said? Of course
Steven,
you said that.
Here, let me. I'll pull up the script. This is out. The photo news is out by now. But let me tell you. First, Venus Optics has released the Laowa Aragon. I couldn't even say it, so I dropped the word Aragon because I didn't even know what it was. A 10 to 50x super micro APO set of lenses. I've never seen anything like this. This is a first all-in-one microscopic photography kit for photographers that you simply just slap on your camera and you're good to go. The good news is I can finally take a usable dick pic. I said it right there. I wrote that in there.
It's just so funny when you're like, I don't listen to stupid humor, and then we do photo news fix and put shit out like this.
It's funny, Steven.
I know it is, but you always say like, I don't watch dumbed down content.
I don't watch dumbed down content.
Yeah, that's all we produce.
Oh, what? Did you just say our content is dumb?
What do you say stuff like that? Yes.
That's funny. It's comedy, Steven.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
childish humor.
Anyway, this probe thing is interesting. They showed a picture of a butterfly wings. A bullet with butterfly wings. They showed a picture of a 50x shot of a butterfly's wings with a piece of pollen on it. It's kind of crazy. It's just crazy, but it got me thinking, can we try and replicate what can we do with the record this time? Can we try to do the record thing differently?
Yeah, but that was, I don't know, man. That we used a crazy microscope for that.
I know, it was $69,000.
And we zoomed into, I don't have any information about this lens you're talking about because you didn't send me any links. But that was to the microscopic level, to the point where, I guess if you see a speck of pollen on a butterfly wing, maybe you can make it work. Though we saw the actual groove of the record.
We did with the needle.
Put out a video? Yeah, we did put out a video.
We did that video. We did I fail? 105,000 views.
That was a really interesting video.
Well, that was, again, one that we know we needed to, that if someone watched it, they would love it, but we had to get people to watch it.
I still think we could have, I wish I was at the helm behind that machine, man, because
I know. The guy
the
running
operator
it
was, yeah.
For those who don't know, they sent us, Olympus sent us someone to operate it.
Technician.
And we would have figured it out within 10 minutes if they just showed us what to do. The problem was we would get the shot to where we needed it. And then
move it.
The guy would take we would take the picture, and then he'd start moving the platter. And if you move the platter a millimeter, everything's gone.
Off. Yeah.
And so it took us like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour just to find it on the telescope to the angle that you want. And then the guy would move it, and we were like, dude, will you stop moving it? We should have figured this out ourselves.
I'm pretty sure wasn't it like 6 to 8 hours we were doing that shoot, like trying to find the perfect image, and we finally got it. Way too long.
Way too long. But anyway.
And the nice thing about this new Venus microscopic lens is, instead of getting only like a 1 megapixel image or even half a megapixel image, whatever that microscope was, it was super low res. You're now getting a 12, 24, 30, whatever megapixel image, or 50 if you're using something else.
Whatever you're using. It has a PL, an RF, a Z, an L mount. It has the E mount. So it has all the different mounts that you could use it for. And the entire kit's $1,500. I sent it to my friend. I sent it to Shelly, and she's a scientist. And she's like, can we take it to Penn and photograph some slides? I want to see what it looks like with that. Cool. So basically, it's like democratizing the ability to use a kit for inexpensive. Now, you still need the camera body.
Well,
and you
but
need
it's
some
not
accessories.
$60,000 like that Olympus microscope that we used.
Yeah, you're not using a $69,000 microscope. Mm-hmm. This is bringing it to the people, and maybe it's not going to be as good, but good enough is good enough with this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, just to see it, because I want to put an image sensor under it, right? Like, I want to do that stuff to see what you can see, but I wonder if we have to put how much extra light we have to throw in there, because you have to use a lot of light.
That was the issue with the microscope. Remember, we were just firing as much light as we could into that platter.
Yeah.
And we tried a sensor, didn't we? And it was just like a bunch of RGB.
That was the cell phone. He put a cell phone screen under it.
Gotcha.
Which was pretty cool.
We also took apart like a D3000
it didn't
or something.
work.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Plus, it was taking him forever to get anything right.
You were definitely getting super frustrated by the end.
Yeah. That was a long ass day, and it was pandemic. We're all wearing masks, and it was just like,
it was brutal.
So,
but I think the video came out great though for that.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for Venus Optics would like to send this out for us to use. We still need to we will have to schedule a day to go to your dad's place and make a video with the other thing. Yep. It's just we still have to get this studio set up and get back and firing on all cylinders. The goal is to get back to user guides and comparisons, and it's just shit that we haven't been able to do since we moved and Steven decided to have a baby.
It's all my fault. It just takes time. It just takes time. We'll get back there, and I cannot wait. Like, we just finally agreed on blinds to get for the studio, and that's one of the biggest things that's holding me back from building a lot of the sets out, because this building that we're in now is covered with giant windows, floor to ceiling. So it's really tough to control any light in there. Right now, we have makeshift, blinds, if you want to call them. We just put the shelves in front of the Photo News Fix set, and that's the only way we're blocking that light.
Yeah, for now.
But hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll have full blinds and go from there.
Yeah, $16,000 later.
That's what happens when you have like 18 giant windows.
And you want them to be connected to a roller system, and you press a button and they go up. So it was not that, it was like $5,000 more to do that.
The issue with the factory, the original place, that we had the same types of rollers and everything, and shades that would roll down, blackout shades. And now it'll be automated, so you can literally press a button, everything will go up. But before, we had just pull chains, and we would never open the windows. It was rare, we
had two
because
chains.
It was such a process.
2 chains, one on the left, one on the right, because we had solar shades, which are the meshy ones, and then we had blackout shades, which are straight up blackout shades.
And the solar shades we really never used.
They doubled the price. I spent $14,000 over there, and they weren't even they weren't.
I think the only time I would use that is when we did the Q&A, Flying Solo set, which we canned like right away because it got 0 views. But I would actually put the solar shade down so it would have some light and you would actually see outside, and just enough to block the light from hitting you too. Yeah.
Well, the thing that would really help us one day is being able to add a shooter editor and free Steven up a little bit more. And we've had no luck. We've had no luck in that department.
Not at all.
Unfortunately. Anything else you want to get into before we wrap it up? Because I'm going to go shoot the Phillies today and then get ready for the playoffs.
No, we just have a lot of videos to catch up on, and hopefully we'll have something on the 135 Nikon Plana in the near future. If we do put out that Jurassic Park video in the next few days or week, definitely give that a watch. I'm super excited about that video. It's very different and interesting in my opinion. And that's it, as usual. Text us if you can. Leave us a review, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, the usual. Oh, it depends, right? We got to see what time the Phillies games are. There's 3. So the first round is 3 games. It's the best of 3. So if someone wins 2 games, it's over. But if they split like Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday is a game. And they might be afternoon games this time around. Like last year, they were afternoon games for the first couple of games.
Like 1 o'clock?
Like 105, 135 games.
We should still be able to do the podcast, though, early enough.
No. Do you know how early I get to a playoff game? Like 4 hours early.
I mean, if we recorded at 8 a.m., right? You leave at 9 a.m. and that's
I don't think they'll be playing
hours.
At 1. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see what it ends up being, because they haven't announced the time slots yet.
Worst comes to worst, we just do it Wednesday, or we'll figure it out.
On Wednesday they have a game.
Yeah, but it's not all day. We can do it in the afternoon, or
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is episode number 70 of RAWtalk reboot. Jared Polin, FrontNosePhoto.com. See ya.
Bye.